And just like that, the southbound train has left the station. And yes, wearing sunglasses indoors is in fact cool. And hey there, it is Sunday, May 18th. The time is 2:48 p.m. and I am here at Wellesley Station. If I sound a little different, I am just a tad bit hungover from last night. And I'm on my way to meet a couple of friends for lunch and perhaps a drink or two, although I may opt out of that part. So I'll be leaving Wellesley Station, obviously, and heading up Yonge to Bloor. And then I'll be walking over to the Victory Cafe on Bloor Street in the Annex. And if it feels like I have made this video before, I think I have, or at least I've done something very similar to this. But this is what's in store for today. The Leafs are playing at 7:30. A big game 7 versus the Panthers. But by the time you see this, you'll most likely know the outcome if you follow that sort of thing. This is Wellesley Avenue, and there's a really neat looking Chevy Equinox. Oh, they've really made that thing look a lot better than it used to. The temperature is about 16 degrees Celsius. You'll see people in a variety of different levels of how they've dressed up for this weather. Everything from winter coats to shorts and a t-shirt. And just before I continue, I want to wish a longtime viewer from Northern Ireland, I believe it's Northern Ireland, Des Riley, a very happy 78th birthday today. Thank you so much for watching the channel over all these years. Of course, it'll be a belated happy birthday by the time you see this. I think I've walked up Yonge Street on the east side the last few times. So let's go on the west side. We're in the shade a little bit. And this is the long weekend. We're in the midst of the Victoria Day long weekend. That's a national statutory holiday celebrated on the Monday preceding May 25th. So this year that falls on Monday, May 19th. It's often referred to as May 2-4 weekend. And that's a nod to both Queen Victoria's birthday on May 24th, as well as a good old Canadian slang word for a 2-4 of beer, which is a 24-pack, which ironically you can't really get in these parts anymore unless you find a beer store, which have been closing down. They don't sell 2-4s at grocery stores, at least at last check. We're at the LCBO. You know what? I kind of like the lighting on the other side a little bit better. Kind of in the shade over here. Maybe I'll cross over. It's 2:52, and my plans I'm to meet my friends at 3:30, so I should be on time, if not slightly early at this pace. Well, there's a new spot. I think that's opened up recently. Neo Coffee Bar. What a neat little patio space they have. I like the facade on that condo as well. As my camera gimbal wanders off. So it's often the first big cottage getaway weekend of the year for people lucky enough to have access to a cottage.
How do you say?
I've always associated this as a day where you would fire up the grill and have a barbecue, have some cold ones, take in some fireworks at night. Although tonight it'll be the Leafs at 7:30. And tomorrow, most things in the city are closed. Although things are rather quiet today.
It's on the
Get a view to the south. This is probably about as quiet as Yonge Street gets at this time of day. I think it would certainly be busier on a weekday even. Or at least this stretch of Yonge Street.
After you set it this way.
There's a relic from the past. Definitely get out your hand sanitizer if you're going to touch that thing.
cocktails. See the sea, you know, relax a bit. But no, instead we're like,
This is Charles Street East. And we're just a few blocks south of one of the busiest intersections in the country, Yonge and Bloor. Don't see too many forehead tattoos. There's the Norman Foster designed 1 Bloor West. I think it's over 1,000 feet by now. There'll be no long weekend grass rail action, although they are open Monday.
That's where she helped them.
There's a place that's never open on Sundays. They say it's to give their workers a break, but really the owners are religious fanatics, to put it politely. And here we go, Yonge and Bloor. And underneath is the busiest subway station in the country. Over 400,000 people pass through on an average weekday as line 1 and line 2 intersect. It's also one of 2 scramble crossings in the city. The other being at Yonge and Dundas. There used to be one at Bloor and Bay coming up. The city deemed that one not to have enough. Yeah, let's go on the north side, it looks a little busier. The city deemed that one not to have enough pedestrian traffic to justify it. But really, this one gets kind of quiet at certain periods, especially later at night. As much as I'm pro-pedestrian and pro-cyclist, I think it might make sense to not run the scramble at all hours of the day, especially if shuttle buses are running. It really holds them up. I think they could take a similar approach and re-implement the one at Bay and Bloor and just have it during rush hour, because it's certainly quite busy at those times. And Yonge Eglinton would be another obvious candidate. So we have entered the Mink Mile in the Yorkville neighborhood. It's a lot of high-end retailers. And it's surprisingly busy. I wouldn't have anticipated this given how dead Yonge Street was. One other look up at the one. 85 stories tall, 1,108 feet when all is said and done. And when I cross Avenue Road, we'll be entering the Annex neighborhood.
Yeah.
That's Holt Renfrew on the right, a high-end Canadian department store, one with a lot less competition now that Nordstrom is gone and Saks Fifth Avenue is closing. And there's an Italy opening up at the Eaton Center, where Nordstrom used to be, along with the Simons. And a common thing to hear in this area is the sound of steel drums. This is Bay and Bloor. There's a look to the south. There's Bay Station, where there's an abandoned platform called Lower Bay, which was briefly used in 1966. Now it mostly sits vacant, although it does occasionally get used in film and TV productions. I think The Handmaid's Tale and Resident Evil had scenes filmed there. It's also been open lately for Doors Open. I've been in there and recorded a few videos. And that should be coming up pretty soon. That's when the city opens up a lot of spaces that aren't normally accessible to the public, or at least not easily.
Like in part a reflection of who they are. So I'm not surprised that he was defensive about it, because it's like if you're attacking their character and he wants to spend time with them,
Yorkville Village is just north of here. Although this stretch is part of Yorkville.
I guess with like a shirt to buy.
Yeah, it looks like it's gold.
Rolex, Hermes, Burberry has moved in where a pottery barn used to be.
like he was allowed to go.
And they kept the facade intact for the most part.
You can't react when you see something. You have to be normal. You can't react. Because he will judge the reaction. He's very sensitive to that. You just have to say yes to whatever he's telling you. Oh, you have to react.
She looks scary.
$10 debt.
I just got a text from my friend, says his ETA is 3:33. It's 3:08. I should be there by then. think this might have been where Burberry used to be. Retail for lease. There's Louis Vuitton next to a Tiffany. The Church of the Redeemer. This is Avenue Road, although south of Avenue, or south of Bloor, it is Queen's Park. And then south of College, it is University Avenue. And there's been a number of people killed right in this immediate vicinity in recent areas, riding their bikes. And the city has installed these bike lanes, and our spectacular fuck up of a premier wants to remove them, despite heaps of data suggesting they're doing what they should, keeping people safe and boosting local businesses.
Are we doing this or not? Is this maybe let's try to turn
Up all while not contributing to congestion. But car brain wants them ripped out, so that's what they're trying to do. There's currently an injunction in place by a judge to block them. So that's been held up. And of course the province is trying to overturn that and spend millions of dollars taking them out. And they've even gone as far as removing any liability from themselves should anyone be killed or seriously injured on the stretch after they're taken out. There'll be a number of mass rides and protests coming up if those plans continue. I'll be taking part of those. Plus, they provide a much-needed buffer
She's 79.
between pedestrians and vehicle traffic. And if you want to restore a lane of traffic, just get rid of the street parking.
Absolutely dreadful. Another thought it was worse.
It is absolutely unnecessary. There's plenty of parking off street. That's a big cause. On-street parking and construction of the city's congestion woes. There you can see about 12 people bunched up on their bikes at that intersection. And this point here is about 12 cars deep. Mostly single occupant. So although it doesn't look like there's many bikes compared to cars, there certainly are. There's also environmental benefits. This is Bedford coming up, and there's an entrance to St. George subway station just on the right. varsity stadium.
The aquarium.
It's often a little quiet along this stretch. But the Annex is a very eclectic neighborhood. I was here last night having dinner before I went to the Piston for a 90s theme night. And just north of Bloor Street, you'll find a lot of unique Annex style residences. It's kind of a hybrid of, I think, Richardsonian, Romanesque, and Queen Anne styles. No matter how many times I try to learn about that, it just doesn't stick. So I'm sure I got that wrong. A lot of the grand old homes in this area were built between 1880 and before 1920. I've gone through the residential part of the Annex numerous times. And this is a Dutch-style intersection. And there's the Bata Shoe Museum. I didn't even point out we walked by the Royal Ontario Museum earlier. You can see that off in the distance to the east. And there's an entrance to St. George Station. Specs on Bloor. There's the Galleria. And the Senator David A. Kroll Apartments, formerly part of an experimental part of the University of Toronto. This is Huron Street. You'll find some of those Annex-style homes up in this area.
son.
That's essentially a high school affiliated with the University of Toronto. Most of the land to the south of here is part of the University of Toronto. And man, it got windy. This is Madison Avenue and the well-known Madison Pub just to the north. It's certainly feeling a lot hotter than it did half an hour ago.
Yes.
As we get to Spadina. Spadina Road to the north. You can access Spadina Station, which serves line 1 and line 2, although if you're transferring, you're better off doing it at St. George, a stop away.
We're all a big fan of booze,
which also serves those two lines.
Never be so sure about anything. So it's like,
So I'm going to be a touch early, methinks.
Ba cây đêm nữa.
Đèn mạnh thôi.
As we enter what I would call the heart of the Annex. Even though it runs along the south end of the neighborhood. The neighborhood just south of here is Harvard Village. This is Walmer Road. I was here last night. I got off of the Line 2 train and came out of the Spadina entrance right there and walked over to a restaurant in the area.
In the fucking
That place was pretty busy last night, that new Mexican restaurant. Their patio's decently busy. Not sure if we'll be patio bound today or not. Block away. I went to this place, Brown Donkatsu, the other week. It was quite excellent. I went to a pretty high-end Donkatsu restaurant in Shinjuku, one that was very expensive because it's one of my favorite dishes. It's one of those one in Rome things. And I would say the Donkatsu we have here easily holds up. There's another one, Mr. Tonkatsu, just west of here.
Johnny!
That's me, hello.
Hey, we always watch your videos.
Awesome.
Can I take a picture with
Sure.
you? Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
You're doing a really great job.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Very friendly viewer. And despite my best efforts to arrive on time, I am 5 minutes early. There's the Victory. Some spots on the patio. A really nice vet.
Good call.
Since we're a tad early, I think there's a really nice example of an Annex style house we can go check out. Just up here on the right before I end the video. It just occurred to me it's kind of absurd. I talked about them as I walked through the Annex, but I didn't really show any. Well, there's one. There we go. It's a couple of homes, very classic Annex style. It's a beautiful tree-lined street. It'll be even nicer once the construction is done. But I hope you enjoyed this one. I look forward to your thoughts and comments down below. If you wish to support what I do here on the YouTubes, there's links to my Patreon and YouTube channel membership. Down in the description, I've got an Instagram account at Johnny Strides. And there's a super thanks button appearing down below if you wish to say thanks that way. And again, happy birthday to Des Riley. Hope you had a good one. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Yoink.